A very good evening to you with the Monday, April 16th edition of the CBC Evening News. I'm Ryan Broom. In our top story, the Barbados Revenue Authority is making a serious effort to clear its backlog of income tax arrears from 2014. BRA Commissioner Margaret Sivers says they have received an injection of funds from the Treasury Department, and as a result they have started to pay the oldest refunds first so that Barbadians who have been waiting for years can get some relief. Our Peter Thorne has that story.
Ms. Sivers says once the 2014 returns are completed, Barbados Revenue Authority officials will turn their attention to income years 2015 and 2016. She acknowledged that last week BRA got what she described as a small injection of funds from the Treasury, which amounted to close to $5 million. Noting that the BRA is not only about collecting taxes from Barbadians, she stressed that the entity is doing all in its power to clear its huge backlog of arrears, paying out millions of dollars due to taxpayers. Ms. Sivers says refunds will be issued on a first-come, first-served basis, with the oldest refunds being serviced first. The BRA head says in recent months they have been concentrating on repaying outstanding VAT and corporation taxes to businesses. Acknowledging that the BRA is running a tight ship in a cash-strapped economy, she also disclosed that the Treasury has promised another significant injection of funds shortly, which once they receive it, will be paid to Barbadians waiting on their income tax returns. Barbadians are owed just under $100 million in income tax refunds by government. Peter Thorne, CBC News.
Thanks, Peter. Well, Foreign Affairs Minister Maxine McLean is heading a 3-member Barbados delegation to the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in London. That week-long retreat, which features retreats at Windsor Castle and Buckingham Palace, started today and runs until Friday. Last week, Ms. McLean attended a meeting of the Association of Caribbean States in Peru, and she then flew straight to London for the talks. The other members of the Barbados delegation are Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Cecile Humphrey, and High Commissioner to London, Guy Hewitt. The theme of this summit is Towards a Common Future, and host Britain have set out 4 main goals for the summit. These are prosperity, boosting intra-Commonwealth trade and investment, security, increasing cooperation across security challenges, including global terrorism, organized crime and cyber attacks, fairness, promoting democracy, fundamental freedoms and good governance across the Commonwealth, and sustainability, building the resilience of small and vulnerable states to deal with the effects of climate change and other global crises. Under consideration at the talks will also be a Commonwealth Blue Charter on ocean governance, a Commonwealth connectivity agenda for trade and investment, a declaration on cybercrime, and revised Commonwealth guidelines on election observation in member countries. This will be the first Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting held following the United Kingdom's decision to withdraw from the European Union. Businessmen and women in St. Joseph will soon have another avenue to earn money. Word of this as the Democratic Labour Party launched its constituency branch office in St. Joseph. Scores of party supporters as well as government ministers showed their support for candidate Dennis Holder as the office was officially opened yesterday. Our CBC's Shane Jones reports.
Former parliamentarian and 90-year-old DLP stalwart Dame Maisie Barker Welch and candidate Dennis Holder cut the ribbon to officially open the constituency office. Mr. Holder told his audience that since running in the last election, he has not stopped working on behalf of the people of St. Joseph.
They complain to me that the road is dark. I have gone back into communication again, and I have been assured that they will put street lights on that road very soon. I don't stop lobbying. No secretary, no funds, nobody to write letters to me. I do it all on my own, and I represent the people of St. Joseph on my own. I didn't finish there. I got concerned that people will have to walk that road. And I went back again to the MTW officials, and I lobbied for a sidewalk to be placed along the road. Thank God last week I passed there and I realized that the sidewalk has started.
The DLP hopeful and St. Joseph resident shared one of his visions for the constituency, a market day.
Market day will occur every month end. And what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be erecting some tanks and providing some tank space and some stall space. So that when you have your tomatoes and your apples and your oranges, if you grow oranges, your breadfruit and your yam, your sweet potato, you can bring them to market day. And you can sell them to the good residents of St. Joseph. If you are a dressmaker, bring your dresses that you have made to market day. Sell them there. If you're a good baker, bring your bread to market day. And if you can make a good pudding in this house, bring that to market day too.
Education Minister Ronald Jones, in his endorsement of the former educator, said as a former teacher himself, he understands the sacrifice Mr. Holder has made.
Because of our desire to serve our people, we stepped aside or stepped out from the comfort of the classroom space, the comfort of the school, and say to people, I offer myself. Now, he's not an engineer, a medical doctor, a lawyer, professionals in their own right. He's a teacher professional, but employed by someone, as our systems across the world do employ. But he stepped out with faith, as I did then.
The office is located at 110 Blackman's Development, St. Joseph. Shane Jones, CBC News.
Thanks, Shane. Well, from midnight last night, motorists started paying less for gasoline and kerosene, but more for liquefied petroleum gas or bottled gas. The new retail price of gasoline is $3.31 per litre. That's down from $3.44 per litre, a decrease of 13 cents, while the price of kerosene will be lowered from $1.41 per litre to $1.36 per litre, a decrease of 5 cents. The retail prices of bottled will be adjusted from $168.69 per 100-pound cylinder to $169.88, an increase of $1.19. The price of the 25-pound cylinder will move from $47.27 to $47.57, a 30 cents increase. The new price of the 22-pound cylinder is $42.03, up from $41.76, an increase of 27 cents, while the price of the 20-pound cylinder has increased by 24 cents from $37.97 to $38.21. The price of diesel remains unchanged at $2.60 per litre. Welcome back. Well, recognizing the potential of the coconut to be a multi-million-dollar industry, stakeholders have moved to address some of the immediate health concerns. To this end, a workshop has been held for one of the key players in the industry. Our Kent Jerson has more.
The workshop was organized by the Ministry of Agriculture for coconut vendors. Deputy Chief Agricultural Officer Leslie Brereton says there is significant potential in the coconut industry.
It is mentioned that it is a $10 million industry, and the focus now is on coconut water, but that focus will change. And as with other countries, all parts of the coconut will be utilized in one form or the other.
But even as industry players consider further exploitation of the coconut, there are issues that need to be addressed. This is acknowledged by the National Coconut Stakeholders Platform, an organization formed to develop the local industry. Patrice Stout is the deputy chairman.
As we've been looking around and seeing what has been happening with the vending of coconut, everyone would agree that there's a need for some improvement. And here we took the initiative to have them being trained.
Outlining some of the specific challenges is Richard Bourne, Senior Environmental Health Officer.
Things like piled up coconut shells and discarded coconut shells along the roadways, abandoned for weeks and days at a time. Inappropriate dress, inappropriate sanitization of the equipment, and lack of hand washing between tasks.
He tells the participants there are 5 keys to food safety, one of which is keeping clean.
This key speaks to keeping all food contact surfaces above ground level and clean. In addition, it indicates that vending locations be away from rubbish, toilets, open drains, animals, as well as basic infrastructure to provide sanitation as such. Toilet facilities, hand washing facilities, a safe water supply, and drainage. These are things that should be actually in the vicinity of where you're actually vending.
Also on board assisting with the training is the Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute, CARDI. Local representative Ansari Hussein says they want to ensure players have the entire value chain in mind, from growing to picking, marketing, and even finance, among other aspects.
I wish to emphasize that CARDI stands ready to work with all stakeholders to ensure we have a strong, resilient coconut industry here in Barbados, one in which there are no losers and we are all winners.
While this workshop targeted the coconut vendors, more sessions are expected to be held for other players in the industry. Kent Jerson, CBC News.
Thanks, Kent. Well, the recently passed legislation on predial larcenies needs to be strongly enforced. In fact, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Andrew Gittins, believes this will stop non-farmers from benefiting from the crops they did not grow.
You would realize that late last year, there was this legislation passed in Parliament to ensure that farmers can reap what they plant and those who don't plant can't reap what they didn't plant. I think what we need now is some enforcement, though. I mean, only this weekend I was passing down the highway and I see a couple of fellas with sugar cane. Well, they can't say that they didn't plant the cane. It's highly unlikely these fellas are cane producers. They didn't look so to me. I think it's one of the areas we have to work on.
The Barbados Association of Journalists has a new name. It is now the Barbados Association of Journalists and Media Workers, or BARJAM, and a new president has also been elected. He's veteran journalist Emmanuel Joseph, a senior reporter and producer with Barbados Today. Joseph was elected yesterday afternoon at a special general meeting of the organization at the Dalkeith Road headquarters of the National Union of Public Workers.
My first order of business is to seek out those retired media stalwarts, or veterans as we may call them, who we don't see or hear, or who seem to have dropped off the scene, who have contributed to the values and the high standards of the profession from which we can draw and learn, and spend a little time with them and let them know that we are grateful and to draw from them and not to wait until they die to pay glowing tribute to them.
The Vice President is Managing Editor of The Nation Publishing, Amanda Lynch Foster, while Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation reporter Ryan Broom is the General Secretary, and Marlon Madden, a senior reporter with Barbados Today, is Treasurer. CBC Sports reporter Anne-Marie Burke is the Public Relations Officer. The three floor members are Lisa Lord and Anthony Admiral Nelson of the CBC, and Motoring News Editor Trevor Thorpe. Well, a local community organization is taking steps to transform its dancers into leaders. This as the group Dancing Africa hosted a fun day which combined dance with sports. Artistic Director Jennifer Seeley says dancers were separated into various houses based on various African tribes.
Each of these groups had to give a presentation that incorporated a lot about their tribe as well as twinning it with the events of the day. This is an excellent thing for Dancing Africa. It puts our seniors in a position to become excellent leaders. If they can lead their houses, they can eventually lead the group.
Meanwhile, senior member Keisha Imrie says the day's event is a continuation of their efforts to bring a greater sense of unity to the group.
Last year we celebrated 25 years and we wanted to do something as a group which included the babies, the juniors and the senior members to bring them together, like a fun day, but fun day with a difference. And because it was sports season, I thought, well, we could do something with sports and just incorporate dance into it. So we came together, the senior members of the group came together, we just decided on some races, some traveling dance movements that would be fun for everybody, babies, juniors and the seniors.
Well, still to come, a look at some of the stories making headlines across the region. Welcome back. Topping regional news tonight, Trinidad and Tobago's Tourism Minister Randall Mitchell says stakeholder consultation is a priority for him as he begins work in his new post. He admits that tourism in that country needs more attention.
Newly appointed Tourism Minister Randall Mitchell says he has taken note of the meeting being requested by stakeholders.
That is one of my priorities, to meet with all the stakeholders in tourism. As well, the new entity Tourism Trinidad Limited. We need to, the board is operational, but we need to get the organization populated with the top management and with other members of staff.
Mitchell admits that the tourism industry in this country needs more attention.
We need to get really serious with tourism. In 2015, 2016, we would have experienced very low energy prices. And we would have also realized that now more than ever, we really need to diversify the economy, and tourism needs to lead the way.
He believes the destination branding of both Trinidad and Tobago is very urgent at this time.
To ensure that our markets know what we have to offer, that what we have to offer, our product offering, is at a very high standard, and we can increase visitor arrivals and visitor spend in the years to come.
Mitchell was moved to the Ministry of Tourism from the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development in the April 9th Cabinet reshuffle. Former Tourism Minister Shamfa Kajo was moved to the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs.
In Guyana, the judiciary is undergoing training aimed at enhancing the capability of members to deal with sexual offense cases. Kristen McClingham has more on that story.
This first training session since the establishment of a sexual offences court in 2017 will also help members of the judiciary to be more responsive to the issues that are very relevant in the adjudication and interaction with vulnerable persons, especially those involved in sexual offences cases. That's according to Acting Chancellor of the Judiciary, Yonet Cummings-Edwards.
It is an open secret, rather, that testifying in court could be a traumatic experience, and more so in matters relating to sexual offenses. And in that regard, victim services to witnesses will help in reducing the secondary victimization and the trauma that might be associated or attendant with this exercise.
She stated that every sexual abuse case needs to be handled with care, not only to ensure that victims do not suffer any more damage psychologically, but also for stakeholders who are involved in the matter.
And even the judges adjudicating at some point in time may themselves suffer some secondary trauma, as it were, or post-traumatic stress, depending on the circumstances. So these are all occupational hazards which we recognize. So training, counseling, debriefing even, and the employment of psychological skills are needed for the improvement of the services we provide, the improvement of the skills of the court personnel and all stakeholders providing services in the sexual offences court.
Dominica's government has dismissed speculation that it was moving towards establishing a police state after announcing plans to recruit at least 100 more police officers and receiving a number of military vehicles from China. National Security Minister Rayburn Blackmore said that the time has come for Dominica, which is moving to become the first climate-resilient nation in the world, to have a specialized police service. He said this is necessary so they can respond to issues of internal security. The International Monetary Fund has told Jamaica that continued reform implementation will not only safeguard hard-won gains, but also deliver stronger growth and job creation. The IMF Executive Board earlier this month concluded a review of the U.S. $1.68 billion standby arrangement. The IMF, in a statement, said after 5 years of reforms and tenacious fiscal consolidation, risks from reform fatigue and loss of social support are high, especially as growth remains feeble and crime escalates. The Washington-based financial institution said that the economic reform program, which began in May 2013, has been a turning point for Jamaica. Well, a glimpse into the world of sports is just ahead with Damian Best, but first, here's a tip from Cooperators General Insurance.
This tip of the day is brought to you by Cooperators General Insurance Company Limited. Insurance the way you want it to be.
People with disabilities are interested in the same topics of conversation in which people without disabilities are interested. This tip brought to you in association with the Barbados Council for the Disabled.